Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Japanese-born, Michigan-based jazz trombonist Nanami Haruta. We caught up with this young artist about her debut album called The Vibe and Her Life in Music. Originally from Japan, she came to America at the urging of trombone master Michael Dease, who is now her mentor at Michigan State University. This new album boasts an all-star rhythm section stocked with modern giants like pianist Xavier Davis, bassist Rodney Whitaker, and drummer Ulysses Owens Jr. We cover her passionate rise in the jazz world and well beyond. Enjoy this interview.
It's great to meet you. I love your album, so thank you for taking a minute out.
Yes, thank you so much.
So before we get into the vibe and, you know, your mentor, Michael Dease, and all of these good things that are going on, I want to begin our conversation with this. 5 years ago, this pandemic, you know, really began, and we were starting to figure it out, and it affected the musicians in a very specific way. How did you make it through that time period, and how did it influence this debut album in your career now?
Sorry, the connection was bad.
Sorry. Yeah, sure. So what I was saying was, you know, 5 years ago this pandemic began, and it was very uncertain, and it did very, you know, it really affected the musicians quite heavily. How did you make it through that time period, and how did it affect the making of this album?
Right. So 5 years ago, 2020, I was still in Japan, which is my originally from country, and I was living in Tokyo, and I was gigging or like performance every day. But the 2020 was the pandemic season, and all of the jazz club in Tokyo locked down, and we didn't have any gigs, which means we didn't have any income. So it was really rough to just live the life. But during the pandemic season, all of musicians and we tried to connect. Still, we couldn't see in person. We had like social networks, like music program, or like I don't know how to say. We tried to still connect as a musicians and music lovers. So we kept touching with people, and we checked each other. And after few months later, finally we could start gigging. And the pandemic was rough, but that was the great time that we reconnect as a musician, and that's time.
So talk to me about this debut album. How the vibe? What was kind of the vision for it? How good does it feel for this to be your initial album?
This is my American debut album. I moved to America almost 2 years ago, and after I came to here, I met some really great musicians here. So I wanted to play with them, and I wanted to record this album. So it's like my American introducing album here.
So talk to me a little bit about the players on the album and how you selected them and how it all came together.
Okay. This album is produced by Michael Dease. He played baritone sax and trombone on this album, The Vibe. And he's my mentor now at Michigan State University. He's really taking care of me as a trombonist and musicians here in America. So, of course, he played for me. And the pianist and bassist, Xavier Davis and Rodney Whitaker, are also professors in Michigan State University. And I have some classes with them, and I have connection with them at school. And also they're, of course, great musicians too. So I wanted to them to play on my album. And finally, the drummer is Ulysses Owens Jr. Actually, I had never met him before this recording, but the producer and mentor, Michael Dease, is a great friend with him, and he introduced me to him to play this album. So, yeah, it was great to have those legendary players for my introducing.
Yeah, that is an amazing lineup of musicians. So take me back to your beginnings in Japan, and how did you get into music, and how did you ultimately pick the trombone and jazz music?
Yeah, as a music, I started playing classical piano when I was 3 years old, I think. 3 years old. So I've been loving music since then. But I picked trombone when I was 8 years old. I was in a elementary school brass band, and that brass band played some jazz music, which is really rare in Japan. But that was my first met jazz in my life, and trombone. So I was 8 years old, and I've been playing trombone like every day from that time. And I really like jazz and jazz music better than classical or other music. So I've been playing jazz.
So who were some early jazz influences? What were some albums or maybe some early shows you saw that really inspired you to work hard at jazz?
So the first trombonist I knew was Benny Green. I listened his album called Back on the Scene. That was my first influence for jazz and trombone. And then I had a private teacher from when I was 13 years old. And he was a professional jazz trombone player in my hometown, Sapporo. And he gave me a lot of data of jazz albums. And then I started listening J.J. Johnson or Kai Wending, Carl Fontana, Frank Losarino, Curtis Fuller, of course. So I used to listen a lot of 50s, just trombone albums a lot. I think that the 50s jazz scene was my first favorite things.
Well, and the one thing, too, is Michael Dease has really become a star in the jazz world, and he's become so recognizable on the trombone. What is it like to learn under someone like him?
Well, Prof. Dease is star? Sorry, could you say again?
Oh yeah, I was just saying that Michael Dease is like one of the biggest names in jazz. Like I have just watched his career, go rise up over the years, and he's just such a big name. What is it like to learn from somebody like Michael?
Oh, yeah. Prof Dease is the one of the greatest trombonists in the world now, and also he's how to say, like, it's not like business like, but he knows many things to live as a jazz musician in this time, like 2024, 2025. It's difficult.
No, you're fine. No, that was great. That was exactly what I was looking for. I'm curious too. What brought you to Michigan State? You could have technically gone anywhere in America, but what was it about Michigan State?
Yeah, so Prof Dease comes to Japan every year for a Seiko Summer Jazz Camp, which is held in Tokyo every year. And I participated that camp 2019 when I was 18 years old. And that was my last year of high school. And I was looking for the university in Japan or America. But Prof Dease came and we met in Tokyo, and he told me I can come to MSU and learn with him. So I said, of course, yes, please. So yeah, that's why I came. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So the one thing about Japan that always, that I've heard so many stories about, is that they love jazz. The Japanese absolutely love jazz.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why does the Japanese culture love jazz probably more than any other culture in the world?
The one thing is, this is my opinion, but jazz music is not Japanese culture. It's like abroad culture. So people think it's really cool. Like not only the music, like Japanese thinks American culture is really cool. So that's the one thing. And also the 1960s, around that time, or like 70s, was the most popular year, like most popular time. People really love jazz because Art Blakey or like those famous cats came to Japan, and people really liked the new culture, and yeah,
that makes sense. No, that's a great explanation. So what do you like the best about being a professional musician?
The jazz is the only thing I want to do in my life. I don't want to study math or like so this is a great thing that I can do only playing jazz, which I love, and I can make money with the favorite thing.
So let me ask you this. When you came to America, what was one of the first live jazz shows you saw that was memorable that you loved?
The first thing,
Live, like one of the first live jazz shows that you saw in America.
I would say when the Charles Lloyd Trio and Quartet, I went to see Charles Lloyd Band in New York. That was really great, and that was unforgettable show in my life too.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Being in America and obviously knowing the history of jazz,
Yeah.
what is one stage that you would love to play on that you haven't yet, that would be a dream gig to have?
Dream, I would like to have leader show at Birdland in the future, because I used to listen Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers live at Birdland a lot, and that was my like the land of my dream. Yeah, place. Yeah.
So what do you like the best about playing the trombone?
Trombone has the sound is similar with people's voice. So that's the thing I like to play trombone. It's easy to show my feeling or what I'm feeling now through the music, through the trombone. So I like that part a lot.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What do you like the best about living in America, and what do you miss the most about living in Japan?
The most great thing in America is, of course, jazz music, especially in New York, or like, and also MSU has great professors and students. So the America, the jazz music is really close to people's lives in America. It's like America's culture, so it's really close contact with people. You know. Yeah, that's the thing I like. And I miss Japan as a human. Like the Japanese bathroom is really clean everywhere, and food is great and cheap. Yeah, the service is human. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and so I'm curious. I absolutely love sushi. Do you think if I lived in Japan, I would get tired of it? Did you ever get tired of eating sushi?
No, I've never.
That's good to know, because I've often wondered that, because one of my best friends, his nicknames, we nicknamed him Nikaido because he's kind of sneaky. He's like a character off the Pink Panther, and he's half Japanese. So he taught me how to eat sushi, and he taught me how to appreciate the fish and love the good restaurants. So every time I eat sushi, I just think I can't get enough of it. And if I lived in Japan, I would be healthy. I would eat this wonderful food, and I would just hope that I would never get tired of it.
Yeah, I've never get tired. No, like I can eat sushi every day.
Okay, all right, that's good to know.
Okay.
So, what's going on with live shows and promoting this album? If anybody wants to catch you live,
so we have 2 album release show for now. So this album is produced by Michael Dease and Greg Hill.
Yeah.
So, Greg are working on promotion with a few companies. So I don't really know about promoting about this album, but
Okay.
yeah, I have two shows in New York and Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Okay. And then to get the album is the best place, Bandcamp, to pick up a copy?
Bandcamp or like Apple Music or those like live streaming.
And I could put links out there. Sometimes in this world of jazz, it's always good to pick up a physical copy because that benefits you. So
Yeah.
So I'll put a link out there to Bandcamp. This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for taking a minute out about your career and your music. I love it, and I can't wait to play it on the show. So best of luck with everything.
You could get physical CD on Origin Records.
I will put a link to that in the show notes, so I will put a link to that. And again, it's been wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for the music. Thank you for your time today and your story.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening and tuning into another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players and minds in Japan, Michigan, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Nanami for swinging on by the show. It was wonderful. If you want to hear more Neon Jazz interviews, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us at YouTube, and for everything Neon Jazz, go to theneonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends. Joe Domino here, host of KC's Neon Jazz Radio. On International Jazz Day, April 30th, join us at the Music Hall in downtown Kansas City for the event of the year, 90 Years of Count Basie's Swing. At 7 p.m., the world-famous Count Basie Orchestra takes the stage. From 5 to 7 p.m., it's a VIP reception with jazz legends and honorees. Finally, from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., join the after-party jam session at Lonnie's Reno Club inside the Ambassador Hotel. Tickets are moving fast. Get yours now at kccreativecity.com/count-basie. This event is part of International Jazz Day, supported by the UNESCO Creative Cities Network, with Kansas City proudly standing as America's only creative city of music. I'll see you there, Kansas City.